Hey, what's up, everybody? BDL44 coming at you another video. All right, so as I told you guys, I was gonna put on my Kobe jersey. In my last video, I said that it is Kobe Day, and I was gonna put on my Hollywood Knights Kobe jersey since I was trying to find it in the last video, couldn't find it, but here it is. We're not playing at all. I'm gonna be wearing this pretty much all day. So, hey, check this out. We're talking about the Lakers, of course. I want to send great energy toward the Bryant family. As I did in the last video, I just want them to know that I'm supporting them in all things justice for the victims in regards to the case. So that's what I want to do first and foremost. Let's get the victory. Nobody's going to be able to share anything that Miss Vanessa Bryant doesn't want shared in regards to that situation. And the families and the victims, we're on your side here. So that's where we at with that. That's how we start in this video. The next thing is, we're going to transition out of that and go into different Laker news. Kyrie Irving is what we talked about at length over the summer, because that's the player we're trying to get our team to bring in and have the piece available to help us compete for a championship. We believe we can do that if we bring him in and maybe retool a little further as the season progresses. Once we know what we have, trade a couple guys at the deadline, get ourselves a piece or two in the buyout market, and we'll feel real good about our team. But for now, of course, it's about trying to get that piece. And the Brooklyn Nets have told us beyond a shadow of a doubt that they are not interested in making a trade with us for Kyrie at this time. And they plan on starting the season with Kyrie Irving. That was the last thing I heard. So, I told you guys last night and a million other nights beforehand that I thought that that was the only way to play it, because as long as KD is there, there's no reason for Joe's side to make any hasty moves with Kyrie Irving. The dynamic there is that Kyrie Irving and KD are good friends. And even though it's been a lot of concern about where they're at in their relationship as friends right now, for a lot of people, as for myself, I don't have those concerns. I just look at that situation and say there's nothing that I'm seeing in front of the scenes that show any indication that there's a problem behind the scenes, as far as I could tell, with those two at all. I think there's a lot of people who are insinuating that because of the nature of what's taking place, for which they have no answer, so they can jump to one conclusion or another, just like I can. But I don't see a problem there. In fact, they were on the court together, if I'm not mistaken, yesterday or the day before. I think they're trying to start the season. They're trying to get some chemistry going to start the season. Because I think they believe they will be on this team to start the season. That's just my personal belief. It's logical to think they will, because I don't think anything gets done because I tell you guys the truth. Until those young prospects get on the floor, until you can actually see what they are, it's hard to price tag them properly, and nobody's going to want to make a move for the price tag that's inconsistent at this point for any goods whatsoever in the NBA. So that's what it is. I think people want to get the ball rolling. I think there's probably pressure coming down from the league to make teams get going on these trades, as I predicted as well. That's what I think is happening. I think Adam Silver's probably made a few extra phone calls saying, where are we in regards to making these transactions? And I think, of course, the answer is still, it's not about us trying to make these transactions. It's about whether or not we'd be willing to make these transactions in this market for these prices. And you could force me to see the urgency in making the deal, but once it's time to make the deal, if the price tag isn't right for what I'm doing, what am I actually trying to accomplish? Just to make sure that things get done, in a timely fashion. That doesn't mean they're being done correctly. So in the NBA, you can't operate that way. With the inconsistencies of the cap, and you're not really sure of what you're going to have next year, you can't just hastily make a move. It could cripple you, depending on what it is you're doing. So in a market like this, no, it's just not. It's not the way to play. So that's what we're looking at. It's been what we've been looking at. Then hopefully it'll be settled very soon. But I don't see how that could be until the start of training camp, for which I don't believe starts for another week or two. I'm not really sure, actually, so don't quote me on that. But I do believe it should be starting soon. We're approaching the end of April. Training camp should be somewhere in September, I believe. So yeah, I said April. I'm in August, obviously. Okay, so this is what it is. Also, looking at the LA Lakers, we are still in a space where we have Russell Westbrook on the team. And I haven't heard anything new in regards to Russell Westbrook. I know that he's been working out, though. And that's ultimately all we want to see. Just like we've been saying about Kyrie, just like we've been saying about the other players as well. August, all we want to see is you doing the Hoodie Mellow thing, being in that infamous New York gym or one of these gyms all over the country, and in there with other players who are trying to get better. That's it. That's all any athlete should be doing right now at this stage of the NBA season. It should be over for Aruba. It should be over for Cancun. All y'all should be back home pretty much by now. Everybody got married, you know what I mean? If guys are on their honeymoon, that process is taking place right now. They should be coming home very soon from the honeymoon, all that stuff. So that's where we're at. Guys are on the tail end of their off season. And for their sakes, to be honest with you, I hope it feels like it lasts forever, because a lot of times the NBA season could be a drag, man. You look up in February, you look up in March, you don't even want to be playing basketball no more. You wish you were in these moments. But it seems like, I would imagine for some athletes, when you get to these moments, it's like you want to be in March. It's like you want to keep playing. You know what I mean? It's never any satisfaction for some guys, I'd imagine. So I just hope that everybody's enjoying their off season, they're staying healthy, and they're working on their conditioning, they're doing good things with their diet. I think that's another thing that's very important. When you're really, really successful, wealthy, or even not very wealthy, hell, just a human being, you like to eat. You love good meals. You have the ability to afford good meals, or you have a lifestyle that allows you just pure and utter luxury. In my mind, it seems like diet's probably one of the most difficult things to discipline against. Unless you're just obsessive about your health and if you're wired a certain way. But if you're just like a regular guy and you inherit millions and millions of dollars, yeah, you're going to want to eat the best stuff you can eat every time you sit down. Anything that can taste possibly the greatest, if it's the most expensive, whatever your style is, you're going to cater to that. You're not going to necessarily want to eat bird food and, you know what I mean, to try to keep yourself in such a space that makes you the best possible athlete on the basketball floor. But when you're out there trying to push yourself in double overtime, or you're out there trying to give it your all when your body's tired, you're on a back-to-back somewhere in March, I should say, you will wish that your diet reflected all that not so tasty stuff so that your body can move. I can tell you, especially if you're older. I just made 38 2 days ago. My diet for the second half of the first half of this year, from like March to now, basically, has been good. I got rid of the potatoes. I got rid of a lot of sugar. I got rid of a lot of stuff that was no good. And I just been giving myself rice and chicken. Now when I work out, I feel like I'm 21. Literally. I'm moving faster now in this era right here now than I did when I was 26 years old. In terms of my exercise and workout conditioning right now. And why is that? It's the diet, man. And it ain't even been that long of a change. I've only been fixing my diet for 3 months. So you can imagine if these athletes who are much more naturally athletic, much more naturally genetically engineered, so to speak, or whatever, how you say that, to be in shape, if they eat properly, they should be able to do way more than I ever wanted to do, way more than I'm capable of doing, especially since 9 out of 10 times they're younger than me. Now, I don't assume that I have bad genetics, you know what I mean, anything like that. I think I'm a durable guy in general, but when you talk about taking care of yourself at this age, I feel like as a non-athlete, if I can see the difference when I change my diet and I'm moving 10 times faster than I ever have, I think these guys in the NBA should consider making the decision to change their diet, because you're going to be a millionaire for the rest of your life. So just make this decision to change your diet in the NBA so you can give your body the best possible energy for the longest period of time. And then when you retire, sit down and order all of that stuff you want to eat and let your body go if that's what you're going to do, because there is a time and a place for that, but it ain't when you are required to use your body to do all of your work. And so that's why I just want to instill that bit of encouragement to all athletes to say, what you put in your body will ultimately determine the energy you have when you need more energy. You know what I mean? When you need more, that is when you get it, when you have made the sacrifice to your diet. that ultimately makes it so that the food don't taste all that damn good. I'm sorry, that's what it is. The worse it tastes, the better it is for you, it seems. That's just how it seems. So, but if you're a millionaire, I'm pretty sure you can hire a chef that can change that a lot. So I would encourage all these guys to take your diet seriously, get the red meat up out of there, get the processed nonsense up out of there, get the sugars up out of there, get stuff out of your diet that otherwise slows you down. Especially if you're over the age of 30. So I would encourage these dudes, man. Your athletes, don't lose sight of that. If your body ain't doing what it's supposed to do, then these injuries start hitting, then fatigue start hitting, those injuries start hitting. And then you just find yourself with lesser opportunities, which domino effects down to you having lesser money, which domino effects to you having lesser time in the NBA, which domino effects to you having lesser good meals later on after you retire. See what I'm saying? I think the sacrifice, what you put in now, that's what I've been telling myself and everything that I've been doing, what you put in. Anytime you get the feeling that you don't want to sacrifice, you just remember the words, what you put in. This is exactly what you're going to get out. If you're not willing to do that extra, you ain't going to get extra. Simple as that. So that is what I want to share with you guys. All right. So, NBA, please hurry up and start so I can stop philosophizing and telling these people a bunch of stuff ain't got nothing to do with basketball. I like talking like this, but it ain't content. What it is, though, is me waiting for content. And so hopefully we can get some. I do want to apologize to everybody because I know for a fact that I'm not going to break down every team like I did last year. At least I have no intention of doing it in the way that I did it last year. What I did last year was I took every single team, broke down all of the roster, took every rookie on the team, did homework on all the rookies, and then found myself extremely knowledgeable about the year. I want that knowledge. I really want that knowledge, and I don't mind doing the homework. But my problem is this. The teams aren't done, and as soon as you start studying teams like the Lakers, as soon as you start studying teams like the Nets, as soon as you start studying that random team that's going to get involved as a third team, then you have to go back and do homework all over again on all of those teams. That's where I'm having issues wanting to start the process. Now, I know there's certain teams I probably should just do off top because they're not going to make any changes from here. But then again, what if they're that third team? It'll be the team that you don't think will do anything that'll mess around and move 3 starters in a deal like this. So that's why I'm like, and I understand this as I've been saying it. The NBA right now is incomplete. You have some teams that are, yes, do they have basketball players that are professional on it? Yes. Are those pieces, because of the different players' skill sets and attributes, meant to be together? No. In some cases, absolutely not. These teams are not imagined yet. They're just pieces that need to be moved so that the team can make sense. And so, because we understand this, doing homework on teams like that is useless. Now, studying rookies, doing all the homework on the rookies, I probably should just go ahead and find out who these guys are, do a little more homework on Duren and Mathurin and all these young guys that I like a lot, that I otherwise would know back and front by now. But that's what just really it is. I'm very, very, very disappointed in myself for not just doing it anyway, so I'd have that knowledge and be able to have more to share with you guys on the basketball front. But I'm just waiting like everybody else. I want these teams to get complete, and then I want to study what it is in front of me. You know what I mean? That's what I want to do. Teams like the Hawks, I don't expect them to make too many moves. Maybe they move John Collins. I doubt it, though. Looking the way the market's going right now, I think he's going to be a Hawk to start the season. Jakob Poeltl is a guy I've been mentioning a lot. I do think that the San Antonio Spurs will trade him when the market gets open. It just does not make any sense for them to keep him if they're not going to re-sign him. And I think if they were going to re-sign him, they would have re-signed him when they re-signed Keldon Johnson. That's just my logic. So if I'm looking at a player that I think teams can acquire, maybe somebody that's just imminent to move, 100% imminent to move, it's him. He's out of there. Him and Donovan Mitchell are the 2 players I expect to be 100% traded. Unless the Spurs re-sign him, or, of course they can wait to the trade deadline. But if they haven't traded him by the trade deadline, I'm assuming they're going to re-sign him. That's the only way I see that going. So, yeah, Jakob Poeltl should be on the move. Colin Sexton hasn't signed, but he is restricted, so it's expected that the Cleveland Cavaliers will ultimately bring him back to some degree. But that situation is so extremely tricky because I don't know what their cap situation looks like, so they may not even have the money to afford what his preferred salary would otherwise be. So this situation is a nightmare there in Cleveland with Colin Sexton. But if you look at the rest of the free agent pool, I did a glance at the free agent pool. It's not a whole lot to like. If you're still looking to retool, there's a couple of players here and there in random positions that may have some use, slight upside. Maybe 2 guys that I saw that have good upside, but the rest of the players that are in the free agent pool may actually stay outside of the league. That's how bad it's looking in regards to that. So, it's going to have to be trades that are made in order to make these teams better, in my opinion. So I have to be trades. So we'll see how long it takes for the NBA is able to fulfill that need. So that's what I got, man. I know this is a Laker talk, but gosh, I just don't have much Laker news, man. We're waiting. We're waiting for anything and everything. I haven't heard a word from Darvin Ham in weeks. I haven't heard a word from Jeannie Buss in weeks. I haven't heard a word from Rob Pelinka at all. It's really nothing to say. We're at a stalemate. Guys are waiting for the season to start and preparing for training camp. And that's pretty much it. I'm hoping at absolute random that the young players are working hard, in terms of the G League guys, because those are the ones that I have the most faith in terms of our bench, believe it or not, with a certain level of respect, of course, to the guys that we just signed. I just know what type of upside them dudes behind them have, and that's where I want us to focus our energy in terms of development. It's in the Huffs and the Reeves and the Pippins and the O'Neals and McCoys. Those are the guys. I'm telling you, that's where we have it. We just got to develop those guys and turn them into what it is that I believe they're going to be. So that's super important to me. Christie as well. Think about the young fellas. Obviously Swider. That's obvious. So yeah, I'm telling you, because I'm listening to people talk about the Lakers and the Lakers didn't do nothing in their offseason. All they have mediocre players they picked up. I'm like, look, man, with all due respect to those guys, I don't really care if they're mediocre or not. We just need to make sure that they can fill the roster up, play well enough to give LeBron James, AD, and our starters spells of breaks. As long as those 2 are the focal point of what it is that we're doing, we are in a position to feel good about ourselves. Once we start relying upon role players, once we start relying upon guys that we just picked up to do big things, then we know we're not doing what we're supposed to be doing. We are a 2-headed monster right now. If we're able to get Kyrie Irving, we'll be a 3-headed monster. And that's what we're going to be doing. Leaning in on those guys and letting the role players play defense, rebound, catch lobs, fast break, stuff like that. But other than that, this is LeBron James, Anthony Davis probably hoisting up 20 shots a game. And that's the way it should be for the way this roster is constructed. Aggression from Anthony Davis. Bro, if you don't come aggressive, we can't win. It's not, and health is great. Shoot, it's better than great. It's what we're praying for. But he can be healthy. If he starts the season the way he did last year, we're going to suck. He can play 82 games. If he gives us 82 of that, we're no good. He's going to have to give us 82 of something better than what he's been. And so with the conditioning that he's been putting in, him working out, running up mountains and stuff like that, that's the type of stuff I was wanting to see him do, working out with Lethal Shooter, just taking his craft seriously once again and not accepting that shooting percentage, jump shot shooting percentage as the way to go. He should never in a million years accept the fact that he's a 16% jump shooter from anywhere on the court. I don't give a damn if it's the half court line. Anthony Davis's percentage should be higher than 16%. I'm sorry. So that's something that I just know that he should take a great deal of pride in attacking this season. Ain't no way in hell he should shoot anywhere in the vicinity of 16% from anywhere on the basketball floor for the rest of his career. And if he does, I'm just not going to be looking at him as the player that I know he's supposed to be. That had better been an anomaly, sir. That had better been an anomaly. So, yeah, I'm back to challenging Anthony Davis, because I know that we can't do a damn thing without him, and I know it ain't no sense in challenging LeBron James because he's going to be there. If his body's able, he's going to be there. He's going to be the best player on the floor. So I don't have to look at Bron and say, hey, Bron, you better now. You ain't got to do nothing. Just be Bron and he's somebody we can always rely on. It's everybody else, of course, that we need to rely upon and count on, because he's gonna do it. And that's what it is. I want to thank Bron for signing the extension, easing our minds in that regard, giving us our leverage that we need in this market. I don't know if he saw it as his very best strategy, but I do think it was something that was necessary for our team to be very good right now, or at least give us an opportunity to get what it is that we need. He did his part. Now it's up to the Lakers to execute the transaction. That's basically what I'm saying. He did his part. And so there's that. Very excited about just the whole thing. I think now we just await the news. If for some reason we start the season with Russell Westbrook, we'll be ready for that. We're not upset about that on this channel. Not at all. Because we know what the goal is, and we have to get rid of him one way or another. At $47 million, he can't stay. Period. So what I want the Lakers to do is, if we start the season with Russell Westbrook, honestly, I want us to sit down and have a conversation with Russell Westbrook. And the thing about that is this. The reason why I want to have a conversation with Russell Westbrook is this. I believe, BDF44 believes that it's in the Lakers' best interest to sit him until trade. I do believe that. And I want him to believe that that is the best thing for me to do too, because I'm not thinking those words because I have negative feelings about Russell Westbrook. I'm thinking those words because I don't want Russell Westbrook to be at risk for getting hurt, and then I'm unable to trade him at that point. That tanks our season. And while I think Russell Westbrook is probably a more reliable bet than pretty much anybody I can honestly think of in terms of me feeling comfortable that he won't get hurt because of his conditioning and who he is, he just don't be getting hurt like that. So I would play him before I would play most, to be honest with you. But when I think about the risk, and I think about what has to happen for the Lakers, the worst thing that can happen to us is a repeat of Julius Randle's rookie season. Julius Randle came out, played one quarter for the Rockets, went up for a dunk, dunked the ball, came down, broke his leg. We didn't see him again. If that happens to Russell Westbrook, our season is over. Kyrie Irving's plans of becoming a Laker are a wrap for this season, and then his future is up in the air from there. You see what I'm saying? We are not only, and this is me saying this because I care that Kyrie Irving's future be good in the NBA. I understand that there may be some people watching don't have that as anything in their mind right now, but I'm saying that's one thing that goes wrong for sure if Russell Westbrook gets hurt and we don't trade him. Now, some would say you could probably still convince someone to take that contract even though it gets hurt. We have seen that be the case with contracts before. Two of them come to mind. One of them is Joe Ingles was traded and when he was out for the season with a knee because his contract was expiring. And Ricky Rubio was traded and he was out with a knee and his contract was expiring. That was a transaction made so that the numbers could work. They didn't need him to play. They just needed the contract. Someone may look at Russell Westbrook's contract and say, we can acquire that 47. We never intended to play him anyway. All we wanted was that $47 million come off the cap next season. Now, some GMs may actually do that. Like if I'm Indy, I may still do that. I never pretended to play him anyway. Brooklyn, I may still do that if it comes down to it. I never intended to play him anyway. Problem is, who the hell signed up for that? I mean, actually signed up for that. First of all, it's a $47 million contract, which means it has salary tax implications on this season. So you're going to bring that contract in and you're going to pay for it. So the least you want it to do is help you do whatever it is you're going to do. He's a Hall of Fame player. You want him to get a triple-double in your uniform, even if he's not that great. If you're a team like them, you just want him in your uniform so you can say you had him. So acquiring him at that price and he's not playing does take away a lot, even if you think of him as a bumbling player. But, I think it would be, all in all, even though I see both of those things as low probability scenarios, him getting hurt or the Lakers not being able to trade him for some reason, he does get hurt, I think we should be able to trade him if the law letter of the law allows us to trade an injured player in that situation. We should be able to get him to Indy, and I think they might be able to do it. But point is, I would want to have a conversation with Russell Westbrook because all of these things are in my mind. If he gets hurt, I'm worried I ain't gonna be able to trade him. So yeah, I would want to talk to him, dude. I would, and I know he wouldn't want to hear that. No player would want to hear that, but. And it's one of those situations where it's like Russell Westbrook, I'm like, bro, I ain't getting hurt. I played 81 games last year, and the last game I didn't play because of stuff, because of what was going on. And so, like I said, he's somebody I would be willing to play in this situation before probably most. But even though it's still one of those situations where he's still a human being, he's still this age, and if he gets hurt, everything is gone. When I say everything is gone, everything is gone. LeBron James' tenure with the Lakers is gone. Basically, in my mind, it becomes a situation where this season is done. You know what I mean? He's more likely to want to opt out when he has an opportunity to get the hell out of here. All of these things are gonna domino effect from playing Russell Westbrook and him getting hurt before we trade him. All of that is possible once you let that happen. So, as a Laker fan, I respect Russell Westbrook. I believe in Russell Westbrook's ability to be durable. I believe in Russell Westbrook's ability to bounce back and have a better year in a good situation if he fits on a team. All of that. I'm not one of them people that say Russell Westbrook can never play in the NBA anymore. I don't believe that. He just has to prove he can. However, if I got to guard against all these different things and it's my reputation on the line, if all these things fall apart, yeah, I'm sitting down with Russell Westbrook. I'm having a candid conversation, and I'm telling him that I think it's in my best interest that we sit him until we trade him. That's what I'm telling him. And it ain't because he can't help the team. It ain't because he's playing at $47 million, turning the ball over and things of those nature. No, that's not. I'm not Skip Bayless. I'm not going to make that argument. That's not real. The truth of the matter is we just can't afford for him to get hurt. We just cannot. We can't afford it. That's a risk that we can't afford to let be possible. So I don't know if anybody else is thinking like that. But if I'm an advisor of Jeanie Buss, I'm really bringing that point to the table right now. If I'm LeBron James, I'm bringing that point to the table. Like, listen, he can't get hurt. He can't. It's not about him hurting the team or any of that. It's just if he gets hurt, we done. All of us are done. That could lead to Jeanie firing everybody, truly, because that's the beginning of everything going left. So, yeah, some things you can't let be possible. Just like I believe Brooklyn can't let the possibility of Kyrie Irving being unwilling to take the vaccine again be possible. They can't let that possibility be possible. Even though I'm not worried about that. If I'm a Laker fan, I'll bring him in with that being possible because I don't care. If I'm the Nets, I must not let that happen because it's already happened and it's something that must stop. It's my responsibility to stop that, right? You see what I'm saying? So I look at it the same way. Certain things, it's like, I don't care if I have faith in you. I can believe you're not going to do it. I can be willing to bet the farm you're not going to do something. But when it's my responsibility to keep you from doing it, it's not my faith that I got to rely upon. It's the execution of being precise. What do the percentages tell me? That if this happens, it's bad. And what happens if that happens? I get fired. Nope. Can't let the environment for which that can take place be possible. You understand what I'm saying? Preventative measures. So that's what it is all about for me. I think the Lakers should just keep all of that in mind as they have to assess what needs to happen or doesn't need to happen. You know what I mean? Russell Westbrook is a player that we respect. You know, and I'm not going to hold last year against him in his entire career. But I do not allow him to play for the Lakers anymore. No. I don't. And I have a real conversation with him. Like I said, I'm the type of guy where I'm going to want to sit down with you. I'm going to sit down with your representatives. And if you're comfortable bringing in loved ones into the conversation, I want them to hear what I have to say too. Because I want them to know what I'm guarding against. I want them to know how much I respect the man. I want them to know how much I respect the player. And I want them to understand how much I respect my responsibilities too. You understand what I'm saying? And that's what I'm selling. It's like, bro, If it's up to me, I'm just gonna give you your money and make sure you play basketball for the rest of your career. We're just gonna work on you and get, you know what I mean? Like, for the betterment of the person, we can forego everything that's good for the team and just try to give it, you know what I mean? But if we're keeping our eyes on what's best for the team, we can't deviate in regards to that just because we respect the player or because we want to see somebody succeed. Nope, gotta be about this. Gotta be about this. And if Russell Westbrook happens to get hurt, this is what fails. That's what goes west. That's what goes by the wayside. All of it. And we just, it's our responsibility not to let that happen. So, BDF 44 is telling Laker Nation, with all the respect and love in his heart, that shutting down Russell Westbrook seems like the most logical thing for us if we're not able to trade him before the start of the season. But we should not let him sit too long. That trade should be made as soon as humanly possible. I'm talking one game, 2 games, 3 games into the season. The man should not be sitting for too long. All right? But yeah, no, he won't be starting the season with the Lakers. Not if I'm running things. No chance. No chance. And he'll just have to be upset about it. That's why I'm telling you the conversation gonna have to go a certain way, because I'm gonna make sure he sees all the angles I'm looking at. And he gonna get up either pissed at me or he gonna get up saying, I know what you have to do, Brandon. But one thing for sure, he gonna see everything I see. Because it ain't gonna be no situation where he gonna think I'm walking away from that table believing that he's not a good player or that he's not a Hall of Famer, that the disrespect is in the play. No. I just got stuff I have to do to protect this franchise and to protect LeBron James' tenure here, because that's what it is that I have to honor as a franchise. And as a businessman, I expect Russell Westbrook to see that angle, and I expect him to respect that I ain't got no choice. Straight up. So that's what I got to say, man. I'm going to leave it at that, because I want that message to be set in stone. I want people to understand that the Los Angeles Lakers have a responsibility to make sure that Russell Westbrook does not get hurt before we trade him. We have to. My name is BDF44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.